We had a party for World Poetry Day, and I'm going to share with you the highlights. So here's the first part now. Hi, I am Elysium, and welcome to my channel. Now, this was our third event on Scribble, and slightly different to the others. It was very small. There were only 4 of us there. Unfortunately, there were a few people who couldn't make it. We had some last minute cancellations, but do you know what? I think it was actually really lovely for being a very compact event. See what you think. Now, here is me welcoming the people, thanking them for coming, and I start by sharing a poem for Ukraine. I'll warn you, it's a heavy start, but I think it was the right one to begin with.
I'm really happy that you've joined us to think about poetry from across the world. And actually,
Wow.
I've got a couple to share with you because really, I mean, that's the theme of tonight, World Poetry Day. So I found one which I hope it doesn't lower the mood too much. I mean, it's by a Ukrainian author. And I thought that it would be respectful and topical. It's quite heavy, but it is a beautiful piece of work that's been translated from the original. So I'd like to share that with you. And it's by a poet called Lysia Ukrainia, and she's one of Ukraine's best known poets, and she was born on the 25th of February 1871.
Oh, wow.
So she's quite old now. So here we go. Away, dark thoughts, you autumn clouds. A golden spring is here. Shall it be thus in sorrow and in lamentation that my youthful years pass away? No, through all my tears I still shall laugh, sing songs despite my troubles, have hope despite all odds. I want to live. Away, you sorrowful thoughts. On this poor, indignant ground, I shall sow flowers of flowing colour. I shall sow flowers even amidst the frosts, and water them with my bitter tears. And from those burning tears will melt the frozen crust, so hard and strong. Perhaps the flowers will bloom and bring about for me a joyous spring. Unto a winding, flinty mountain shall I bear my weighty stone, yet even bearing such a crushing weight will I sing a joyful song. Throughout a lasting night of darkness, never shall I rest my own eyes, always searching for the guiding star, the bright empress of the dark night skies. I shall not allow my heart to fall asleep. Through gloom and misery envelop me, despite my certain feelings that death is beating at my breast. Death will settle heavily on that breast, the snow covered by a cruel haze, but fierce shall beat my little heart, and maybe with its ferocity overcome death. Yes, I will laugh despite my tears. I'll sing out songs amidst my misfortunes. I'll have hope despite all odds. I will live. Away, you sorrowful thoughts.
That's actually a really incredible poem and very classical in style. I was quite surprised. The English is beautiful.
It is beautiful. And she wrote when she was very young. So I think she might have written this as a teenager. which is incredible.
Yeah, it's a
She's a
very
bride
beautiful
empress.
piece. Yeah, and with everything that's going on in the Ukraine now, incredibly fitting.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Kurt is one of our most prolific poets on Scribble, and hearing him read this poem from Wordsworth was just incredible. So I'm going to share this for you now.
So, all right. Thanks. So this one, this is from Wordsworth, and it goes. If thou indeed derive thy light from heaven, then to the measure of that heaven-born light, shine, poet, in thy place, and be content. The stars preeminent in magnitude, and they that from the zenith dart their beams, visible though they be to half the earth. Though half a sphere be conscious of their brightness, are yet of no diviner origin, no purer essence than the one that burns like an untended watchfire on the ridge of some dark mountain, or than those which seem humbly to hang like twinkling winter lamps among the branches of the leafless trees. All are the undying offspring of one seer. Then, to the measure of the light vouchsafed, shine, poet, in thy place, and be content. So that's Wordsworth.
Beautiful.
Beautifully, Kurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks
You
for
have,
that.
you have such a great voice. Brilliant. Thank you.
Now, Andrew was the next one to share a poem that he wrote. It's from his book, Me, Myself and I, and it goes like this.
It's called A Warm and Clement Isle. As was by darkling's doleful lumber, now fairest tide of June's sweet blaze, while woken now from dismal slumber by sweetest wine of summer's haze. Flesh may know the bitter cold of frost, yet I drift clement the warmth of your isle. You are the glory of light with shadow lost, the meaning of days and my reason to smile. How these souls now braid in weaving clasp, amid the sultry air sweet sparks and dance. Breathless yet with breath, our hands in grasp, thoughts joined, eyes drowning to wilful trance, and to rhapsodic peace of joyous mountain, beyond your gracious lands to else beyond, and with all love and bled without refrain, my heart be ever tied to thee in bond.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
That's emotional, I guess.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kurt.
So talented.
We were lucky enough to hear one of Kurt's poems, one that he wrote himself. He is a very talented poet. Now, listen closely, because afterwards we start discussing how poetry could save the world. I hope you enjoy this.
Kurt, how about, would you fancy sharing another one of yours, talking about rhythm and language? And I am so ready to hear your poetry read by you.
This one would be from my book now. It's about that personality, and once I think deciding portraying such a personality things I have to see that I know is incompatible to the personality if being that good figure, portraying that good reflection. So this is titled Incompatible. Incompatible. Poetry. It is definitively compatible to the sovereign's ink. As the great Aristotle tells, it was poets naturally, as the arts of epic recitations. Specific lines I've read from his rhetoric works. So, the slightest idea for me to think not on a great pursuit is way incompatible. To these ideas that I trusted to keep writing my poetry. To being true, discouraging, disloyal, difficult, ruthless, all of those things. Poetry sees me too ingenious to let those ideas compatible with my heart. Art of poetry is too articulate, and that's incompatible. It's just saying what I have to see incompatible to the personality, being a poet, knowing
Kat,
when we say poets, we're not expecting someone ruthless or ruthless or untrue. So I'm just saying these things I have to see these things incompatible to my personality.
absolutely fantastic. So for me, right, I can tell whether a poem is good or not by the effect that it has on me physically. And that poem, it made me tingle. So like, I'm just being honest here, that is a sign of a good piece of work. So really, thank you so much for sharing it. And I think we need to give him a round of applause for that. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Really well done.
What it made me think was if all the world leaders were poets, would we have wars? That's the way it made me think, because
Wow, that's
I mean,
that's really a powerful thought right there.
it's a very philosophical thought, but ultimately, if
Yeah.
you have people who think only from their hearts in
I
an
agree.
emotive way, with compassion, then surely leadership would be more compassionate, wouldn't it?
That's beautiful.
I agree with you 100%.
I mean, maybe we could get a few of those world leaders signed up on Scribble and,
Please
hanging
don't
out.
get Boris Johnson on Scribble. Please. If Boris Johnson comes on Scribble, I'm leaving.
We're going to say that. Look, I mean, if poetry can save the world, maybe we can heal Boris.
I doubt it. I sincerely doubt it. He's beyond healing, trust me. You might do a poem on Peppa Pig, I suppose.
We spend far too much time discussing that.
So that was part 1 of our event to celebrate World Poetry Day. You can catch part 2, it'll be coming out later. And I would love to hear anything you have to say about this event, so please get in touch by sticking it in the comments down below. There are, of course, the normal ways to get in touch with us if you would like to do that, and just enough time for me to ask you to like, subscribe, and put the alert notification on. And remember, if you like this channel, Don't tell me. Tell your friends. I'll see you next time.